Far away, in an enchanted land that seemed untouched by the steady march of time, there lived an old mining rig designer, Dragonball, who created the KS6, a Kaspa ASIC mining rig. This is an otherworldly device that turns electricity, in conjunction with an internet connection, into tangible passive income. This thing is pulling over 50 bucks a day. Forget Shenron, we don't need a wish, because the earnings from this could potentially get you whatever you want. So let's begin. Episode 1, the initial Dragonball KS6 review. It's 10.5 terahash a second of K heavy hash mining algorithm power. Okay, so that is a very high hash rate, consuming 3,400 watts of electricity. That means if your electricity rate is around 10 cents per kilowatt hour, you would be paying about $8 a day to operate this device. So at about $58 in revenue, you have a true mining profitability of about 50 bucks. So what's the catch? Well, we'll talk about what's going on with the coin that it mines, Kaspa, here later in the video, and the way those tokenomics play out, and there's also the price. Yo, I'm Vosk, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. This is one of our most ridiculous miner reviews in history. I work full-time to build VoskCoin content creation as well as the VoskCoin mining farm. So those are the two pieces of what we do. This is the Dragonball KS6. With their naming, they have one-upped many of the other mining models, even though their device would be inferior to some of their competitors. But that doesn't mean it's a bad device, and it's clearly a very profitable device, at least for now. It is outperforming what it's supposed to be doing at a, per the mining pool, 10.74 terahash a second or the last 24 hours mining performance. So this is marketed to do 10.5. So we are getting 0.24 of realized extra mining performance. If you were to dollarize that extra performance bonus, well, that would be about another $2,000 of mining performance. Because if you wanted a Goldshell K-Box Pro that does 1.6 terahash a second, and you want a sometime in the near future delivery, that would cost you $2,000. Of course, before you punch in the best coupon code of all time, which is in the video description below. I'll show you the manufacturer sites today, and then also we're going to show you ASIC Marketplace, which is where I procured a lot of my miners. We're an affiliate. If you like the content, please use our link, support the channel, and then of course use the code to support yourself there as well. If you don't use the link with them, we don't get any credit. But if you think that if you buy a miner from a reseller, you get a worse deal, not really the case. For example, you can go directly to Goldshell right now and buy it for $22.19, or you could buy this miner directly from ASIC Marketplace for less than that, or even more less than that. And then it can be even more less once you punch the code in. And it comes with the power supply from them. And I don't believe that they're shipping power supplies with it directly from Goldshell. So take from that whatever you will. But let's bring it back to the miner at hand here, right? This is the Dragonball KS6. We talked about what it's supposed to do and then what it's actually doing. I did get this miner from AM. The performance has been better than advertised, but there's an issue. There's an issue. One of those issues is going to be the way that it runs. So check this out. You can't just plug this in and then log into your router or use an IP scanner and find out the IP address for this device and then remotely log into it on your phone. It will never work on your phone realistically. You will need not only a computer but a Windows computer, because you have to download their software to be able to access it. This is no big deal if you're operating a fleet of these, but as a one-off miner, this kind of sucks. This also hurts the resale factor of this device. Let me just kind of say it again. You have to download a program to be able to access this and use it. If you don't, you will never change the mining information, and you will just be mining to their test address for all of eternity. But how cool would it be if we got 7 of these and slapped a big Dragon Ball sticker on the side of each of them, and then would we be able to make a wish? as long as all the numbers were different, right? But other than this being a bit clunky, once you download the software, it is easy enough. It does work, it's fine. It gets the job done. So this miner has been working well and has actually exceeded my expectations, even though I was initially very disappointed that it doesn't have a basic web GUI, right? Which is just a interface that I can access from my phone or any computer just in my web browser. So let's look at the real world mining profitability. We have 1 full day of mining data right now. It performed even better than what I mentioned earlier at nearly 11 terahash a second. And here's a screenshot with a few more days of mining data so we can average this just performance out. Did you know Mining Disrupt is right around the corner? Unfortunately, I cannot attend this year, but you could and get 20% off your ticket with our link out in the video description below. One of the coolest things about Mining Disrupt is they boast that they are the world's largest Bitcoin mining conference and expo. So if you've been thinking about getting into mining, to be able to get on site and see this hardware in person, for example, like fog hashing's immersion mining equipment, could be really valuable and interesting, as well as everything else that goes down there. Thanks to MD for making today's video possible. So we do a little bit of a favorable roundup. We go up to 319 KS coins. That's $57, okay? Kaspa's up 58% in the last 30 days. Wouldn't you love to be up 58% in your net worth in the last 30 days? And you're like, well, what if it goes down? Well, over the last year, it's up 1,155%. Obviously, the past doesn't mean that's going to be what the future is. But this is a strong chart. Honestly, I don't understand how Kaspa does it. They're still not even on Coinbase or Binance. To be frank, it's weird. This performance is absolutely unusual. But it's cool. I'm about it. I'd love to see more proof of work cryptocurrencies, mineable coins do well. How about very well? And this isn't some obscure small market cap shitcoin. This is commanding a market cap of over $4 billion. All right, I know it's no Nvidia, but it's still a lot of money. So bottom line is earning a lot with this. Unfortunately, I went to order this as soon as I saw it, and it essentially cost me $9,800, or really like basically 10 grand, or maybe it was 9,600. Either way, let's say I'm pulling 56 bucks times 365, it would make 20 grand over the next year, right? But I also have to account for an electricity bill in that period, which is going to be about 3 grand. And then Kaspa is always going down with how many coins you can mine. So I will be mining less coins over the next year. The mining difficulty continues to go up. More people are getting into the Kaspa mining games, and there's more Kaspa miners, and there's even better Kaspa miners, making it all that much more difficult. Realistically, I would expect to, after costs and rising difficulty, even if the coin goes up in value some, I would expect that this would take me like a year to make 10 grand, which basically puts me at a 1-year ROI. Those are rough numbers and just an absolute just guess based on my experience with a lot of mining. There's a lot of money to be had. Kaspa mining, $1.6 million of new coins were mined in the last 24 hours. But Kaspa also just hit a new all-time high in mining difficulty, as it basically does nearly every day. We are at 318 petahash a second. The mining profitability per block has just gone down a few days ago, so we still have a whole nother month of the current reward of 104 Kaspa coins. But starting next month and forever then onward, there will be less than 100 coins mined per block for the rest of Kaspa's life, unless they make some kind of crazy change. Here is why the Dragonball miner, and this is their official website, so I'm not endorsing it or recommending it, but you can grab the scan tool from there. Personally, I would recommend just asking, for example, like if you buy the Dragonball miner through ASIC Marketplace, for them to send you the software directly. And that is what I did. I also talked with T-Swift about this miner. He's not a fan of these, but he did confirm the software version as well, stuff like that. So that was nice and helpful of him. I appreciate that. This is a very expensive miner, still commanding a price of around $9,900 before any coupon codes or savings. Right after this came out, Iceriver dropped the KS5L price significantly, right? I essentially paid 3 to 4 grand more than this price a month and a half ago for my KS5L. So I'm not happy about this, right? But whatever, my situation aside, this is a miner that is projected to consume the same electricity and have a higher hash rate. And even though our Dragonball KS6 is performing better than it's advertised, that's still a whole terahash plus of missing mining performance compared with the KS5L. And that miner comes in at a couple $1,000 cheaper with shipping of sometime soon. They have also opened up stock on their site of the KS0 Ultra and the KS5M. They finally reinstated our coupon code. So if you want to head over there, like if this, this by the numbers is the best mini miner for Kaspa mining. Yet again, the new KS0 Ultra model. They have the KS5L over there as well. So after our code, it gets close to the AM price, but after you punch in our code on ASIC Marketplace, it's going to be even cheaper if you were to just buy it from AM as opposed to directly from them. And of course, there's the behemoth of the KS5M, which consumes that same power of 3,400 watts and has an even higher hash rate. So let's bring it back to the Dragonball miner, and then I'll tell you about another miner model that will blow all these out of the water yet again. And that's how crazy Kaspa mining has become. So this is what they call their KS6. And apparently they're selling their miners for even less now. I imagine that AM is going to lower their price on these soon once they're able to get stock of these. I don't know, TBD, we'll see. But I'm not comfortable ordering from some company I've never even heard of and hoping that I send them 10 G's and I get a miner, right? But they have the KS6 model and then something that they call the KS6 Plus or the KS6 Pro. For example, if we look at the KS6 Pro, the key difference here is that it boasts 11 terahash a second mining performance and a higher power consumption of 3,600 watts. If you want a snapshot glance of the KS6 versus the KS6 Pro on paper, right, this is going to be the difference. It's actually spending more watts per terahash, so it has better density, but it's actually a little bit of a worse miner performance-wise or efficiency-wise, but you get a little bit more density with that comparison there. So here's the elephant in the room though. In just a couple months, the KS5 Pros are supposed to be shipping in absolute big bulk volume. And depending when and where you buy it, these things are trading between 10 and 13 grand for 21 terahash a second at 3,150 watts. So you're essentially getting double the mining performance for a lower power bill. These are going to be the go-to miners to build a Kaspa mining farm right now moving forward. Again, what does the future hold? IDFK, okay? But I do know that in my initial testing here, I have nothing really bad to say about the Dragonball miner KS6. It just kind of seems to be like a little bit too late to market at the price point versus their competitors. For example, Iceriver's released a lot of miner models that are similar or better in performance. It's the exact same specs on paper as the ibelink BMKS Max. There's been some other miner models that have had very similar performance, and it just seems very clear that the chip design for these were picked up by multiple miner manufacturing companies, and with how much money there is to be had in Kaspa mining, they have all just absolutely darted to try to make as many of these miners as they can, get them to market and profit. That situation is absolutely toxic because it's too many people trying to extract dollars on the miner manufacturing to the point where it's the common tragedy of the well, right? Everyone is just going to make as many of these as they possibly can. Profit, profit, profit. I mean, who cares if Dragonball screws up the mining equilibrium? They are a mining company that have come out of nowhere that you've never heard of, that you don't care about, and if they screw everyone over, they'll just shut down shop and laugh all the way to the bank. Someone like Bitmain, after especially, this predates many people in the crypto game, especially mining game at this point, but the D3 scandal, really. Bitmain made so many Dash miners in 2017 that it was going to obviously be unprofitable, but they laughed all the way to the bank. Same thing basically happened with Coin miners at another point in time. The bottom line is, why would Dragonball care to mess everything up? Okay, even Iceriver is a new brand that is only known for Kaspa ASIC miners. At this point, why would they care? They may just try to produce as many as they possibly can. ibelink has a much longer standing brand to support. Bitmain has gone down this road and burned themselves and everyone else before, but they have the most efficient device by far. If they make as many Kaspa ASIC miners as they possibly can, they quite literally push these other miners out of the profitability equation because theirs is twice as efficient, right? So that means if everything started to go underwater and burn more than it earns, right? When we compare the mining profitability versus the electricity spent, these KS5 and KS5 Pro miners from Bitmain will earn more than they burn longer than literally every single one of their Kaspa ASIC miner competitors. That's like being the only one that has a nuke. It's a scary thing. Okay, if this is an arms race in miners at current times, they've got the superior machine. So to round out the KS6 review, and I just can't help but to talk about all these other things to hopefully make sure that you have a better view of the full situation here in the Kaspa mining game. The Dragonball KS6 is good, it's fine. My initial impressions on the quality, to be honest, are it's a bit clunkier, it's a bit lower quality, but it's good enough, works, it runs, it's fine. I don't want any more of these, especially at the price point. It's interesting to get this in and review it. It's kind of clunky in a similar fashion like the AlphaPex miners are clunky and rough around the edges, in and out, compared to say something like the Bitmain Antminer L7. But that's another miner that works, gets the job done. So, hey, as always, do whatever you want to do. A lot of people are counting Kaspa mining out, but it continues to be one of the most profitable just coins to mine. Downside is these manufacturers know that, and these miners are so expensive. So yeah, it's super exciting. I'm making $50 a day. Yeah, well, you spent 10 grand to do it. Okay. So that's a long road to recovery. So I don't know. I'm gonna call Eminem, and I'm gonna see you later. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, home of where we run 10 seconds of tales. This beautiful whale kickstarted the VoskCoin journey, and she is of course our CMO, our Chief Mining Officer here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I hope you like the content. Subscribe if you haven't. If you didn't like it, I don't care. Subscribe as well. Goodbye.
Let me